Once upon a time. Once. This will be a unique story. And unique not spatially, but temporally. Never before, never since. Once upon a time, Pablo Picasso had an exhibition. And he was approached by a photographer who was not amused. This, said the photographer, is not art. Look, over there you have a picture of a woman with both eyes on one side of her nose. And that appears to be half man, half horse. And that collection of right angles you claim represents a guitar. But this doesn't depict the real world. This isn't art. And he reached into his wallet and he took out a photograph and gave it to Picasso, saying, "This is a portrait of my wife. And it is precisely exactly what she looks like." And Picasso observed, "She's very small." And somebody told you about the dress code. We look sort of like the forces of good and evil. Take your left forefinger and just touch the card as I spread through them. Just, yeah, take it. Actually, take a whole bunch of them. Just take a handful. Grab it. Good. I'm going to stand right here, Christy, facing forward. I will ask you to move right behind me, facing forward.
Okay.
A little closer. A little closer. A little closer. So you can see all the cards right now.
Yes, sir.
I want you, just with your eyes alone, Christy, I want you to start over at your left and slowly scan across to your right.
Okay.
You flinch, that almost means with certainty that there is an ace.
Yes.
Good. It's a red ace.
Mm-hmm.
It is the ace of no. Ace of diamonds.
Yes, it is.
Christy, this is the universal gesture for gimme. Happens on the back, Christy. Look them over, and you just jumped because you started to go for I think it was a picture card, and then moved over to a number card. Are you beginning to get the idea here? Copperfield can't do this. When I was 7 years old, my family took a vacation in Ithaca, New York, and along with us was my older cousin Nick, whose job, as is the job of all older cousins, was to torture me. One day we were headed for a family outing, and as we were walking down the sidewalk toward the car, Nick was ahead of me with my mother, and he leaned over and said something to her, and she laughed, and I said, "Say that again, I didn't catch it," and Nick said, "It's none of your business." And I said, "But I didn't get what you said, and I want to know." And he turned and smiled, with a smile that is unique to the American male teenager, and said, "And you'll never know." And this is when I had my third epiphany. Because I realized for the first time in my life that there were things that I would never know. That the universe, in the words of Borges, is composed of vast and secret laws, to some of which access denied. Now this is as opposed to my first epiphany, which took place a few years before that. I was lying on my back in a sandbox in Brookline, Massachusetts, staring at the sky, trying to come to terms with something I'd been told a short while earlier. Because what I'd been told was that the sky that I was looking at, and by extension the universe beyond it, is infinite, has no end. And try as I may, I was unable to grasp that concept. And somehow I knew, with a prescience far beyond my few years on this mortal coil, that I would never really grasp that concept. That it would always remain a mystery. So to recap, third epiphany, there are things we can never know. First epiphany, there are things we can know but never understand. Now as for the second epiphany, I won't go into it here except to say that it was a unique experience, and unique not spatially but temporally. Never before, never since. The impact of that epiphany was so thrilling. The pain of that epiphany was so exquisite that I wanted to die. But instead, I learned how to do this. 4 strips of tape, 3 people on the stage, 2 $50, 1 Max Maven. To use the marking pen to draw a picture onto the white cardboard. You may draw anything you like. Is it still facing away from me?
Yes, it is.
It is. Would you keep it like face down on your lap? That is 2. It's nice to know there's some members of this audience who appreciate genuine pain. Let me talk to you for a moment while my eyes readjust to the light. And good heavens, ladies and gentlemen, the Shroud of Turin. Melissa, you are not quite yet done with, because you are thinking about a picture. The picture is sitting face down on Christy's lap. Now, Christy, the picture is facing away from me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so far as I know, that picture has always faced away from me. From the time it was begun until now, it has never faced in my direction. Is that correct? Please keep it that way until I ask for it, all right? Melissa, you do not have to leave your seat. I will simply ask you to draw the picture again, but this time you will not do it using a pen. Instead, I want you to draw it using your mind. I want you to look right here. It may be painful, but look right here. And redraw that picture. The first thing I'm going to try and get from you is a sense of size and scale, because you can see this sort of hovering in the midair between us, can't you? No, that's much too big. Right in here, is that about right? That would be the actual size of the frame you've got, because the picture is more like this, yes? Yeah, and it's not symmetrical on a vertical axis, is it? It's angled too much there. About that, yes? But there's... Okay, just tell me this much. Is it a picture of something or an abstract?
It's a picture of something.
I was afraid of that. And this is the pen you used to draw?
It is.
Because this pen only draws in black. You didn't take crayons out of your bag?
No.
Because your drawing apparently was in black, but you are thinking of this in color. There's it's a dark color, but it's not black. It's more of a brownish kind of thing, and there's something with a lighter shade up toward there. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. You remember the Austrian physicist Wolfgang Pauli? Pauli once observed to a colleague, "Your theory isn't even wrong." I'm going to nail this. We may be here till dawn, but I'm going to nail this. Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. I'm not going to tell him any of the other stuff, just the... Am I holding this right side up? I'm going to take a wild guess. This is a horse.
Yes.
Actually, I'm just kidding, because it's a very good horse. Is that going on? It is actually, because most of the time when people draw horses, first of all, they usually draw the whole body, and this is actually just the kind of head and shoulders part of the horse. And it's got either bad scarring or a bridle of some sort, a bridle, and a big eye, which is sort of almost a cartoon eye, one of those really big eyes, and the pupil is really dilated. And then it's got these ears sticking up, which are pretty big for horse ears, but it seems to be a happy camper, because there's a little bit of a smile right there. And also its nostrils are flared, so it's doing something. I mean, this is an active horse. Melissa, let me ask you a question, because I did not tell you what to draw, right?
Correct.
There were tens. There were hundreds of thousands of things you could chose to draw, and all of those things you chose to draw a portrait of a horse in sort of a three-quarter profile. One simple question. Why? I mean, put this in Southern Californian terms, what was your motivation?
It was the first thing that came into my mind.
So it just sort of popped into your head, and that was why you drew it. I can relate to that. Let me return to standard English. The young lady drew on the board whatever she wanted, and it turned out to be a head and shoulders portrait of a horse with a bridle and big ears and dilated pupils, because it seemed like a good image to put on paper. That's why. Yeah, I do it because it's how I make my living.